All right, Dev with Crime Hive, and two things on this video. We're going to talk about the Richard Allen inmate phone call and what that's all about. And then we're also going to get into the Jorden Sopher case, who was missing and killed not too far from Delphi in the Peru and was found in the Peru, Indiana area. So we're going to talk about that. I've got this video up here of the actual inmate phone call, and you guys can all listen to this. I'll provide the link in my description. Credit to Chris Moyer for this. Okay, so apparently this inmate, the way he knows this information or how he got this information is he's an inmate at Westville Prison. Apparently, this is a phone call from Westville Prison last night that I had with my brother. So he's posting about his brother's phone call. He's in a dorm with a guy who works in the WCU wing. So this guy, my brother knows, sees Richard Allen on a daily basis during his job. He walks by his cell daily. Okay, so he's got some information directly tied to Richard Allen and seeing the people that work there. He's hearing chatter and different things. So what he said in this audio call were a few things. He talked about the search warrant being served about 2 weeks after they detained Richard Allen. He said that neighbors had something stolen from them, and and that item was buried in his yard. So he talks about that. He talks about how the neighbors said the cops came in about noon. They ended up towing Richard Allen's vehicle. They were observing burn piles in the backyard. And neighbors apparently are literally watching with binoculars. So they're literally watching. Apparently that's how they saw that there was a shoebox taken, that there were 2 dark clothing items taken, and a bag. And that he had recently burned something in the backyard, or something had recently been burned in the backyard. And then he goes on to some more speculation. I mean, he even uses the word speculation beyond that. But he goes on to say that, he thinks that Kagan Klein and Tony Klein, his father, were possibly involved, and that they knew Richard Allen. He talked about how Richard Allen lived in Peru, Indiana, and that possibly Kagan told Richard Allen and his father that he had these girls set up. Right, he set up the fake profile, had them in a position where they were going to meet up. So this inmate saying he thinks that Kagan Klein either sold or gave them the phone to communicate with those girls beyond that, and there may have been some sort of transaction to make that happen. So that's just his perspective, his point of view of that. What do you all think about that point of view? He does talk about that he thinks Richard Allen's wife also may have tipped off police, or that Klein, ratted Richard Allen out to make a deal in court that he had coming up. So he believes that all 3 of them are involved, and that's part of the reason that the affidavit is sealed, is because there's still more arrests yet to be made in this case. So that's all I had on that, but I do want to transition to Jorden Sopher. This is interesting. Definitely want to again create some awareness on this case. She disappeared. She vanished on May 23rd, 2006. And I'm reading this from, this is True Crime Crystals. It's from the TrueCaseFiles.com website. And she lived in Wabash, Indiana, before she disappeared. She was working at a local Hardee's restaurant. She was living with some friends who also worked with her. So she moves out of her adoptive parents' home. She stays with a friend, Aaron Harlan. All right. And what happened on that fateful day was she was going to go to work, but what happened was Jorden was dropped off at her adoptive parents' house, and she was driven by a male named Corey Bridenthal. Okay, this is Aaron Harlan's boyfriend. Now, after walking away from the house, Jorden was never seen or heard from again, it goes on to say. So she left the house on foot. Later that evening, Hardee's is calling, wondering where she is because she didn't show up for her shift. Apparently that was very out of character for her, and so her parents immediately report her missing the following day. Police questioned everybody. Okay, they questioned her roommate Aaron, and they also questioned Corey. They conducted polygraph exams. Linda, her parents Linda and Robert were offered a polygraph. Robert refused to take one, but does have an alibi for what happened that day. Linda did agree and passed the polygraph test there. This is what's pretty unique or interesting about this as well is 2009 of May, 3 years after her disappearance. A mushroom hunter in Peru, Indiana, spots human remains in the bushes. Dental records later confirmed that those remains belonged to Jorden. Okay, they could not determine her cause of death because of the deterioration of her remains. Same clothes were on when she was found, or when she had left the home. She was wearing those same clothes. Years had passed, and there's still no arrest made in this case. But here is what I want to mention here too. You've got Delphi, Indiana. You've got Wabash, where she lived, and then you've got Peru, where she was found. Okay, Peru, Indiana. I mean, again, these are such small towns. The reason this case is so significant in relation to Delphi is this isn't a massive city, right? We're not talking about a major city here with a lot of people. They're pretty small communities. So when you have a missing girl who's later found dead, and then you start hearing about these other cases with the Delphi investigation, the Evansdale case, and all these other cases, it does make you wonder if there is someone who has killed multiple people, again, a possible serial killer, or some local people that are conducting these heinous crimes, a group of people. We've talked about the rings and that sort of thing. So that's the significant piece I wanted to point out. Still has not been solved. I'm sure police are certainly corroborating alibis from Richard Allen from all these years to see if some of these older cases, these cold cases, are related. That's going to take a lot of time and a lot of investigative work to do that over the years. And hopefully we'll get some justice for her as well. So again, that's all I have. Take a look at the link if you want to listen to the inmate call, and I will be back with another video. Take care, y'all.